This is Jewell Loyd. Most of you guys know me as a WNBA champion, an Olympian, college dropout, but let's add storyteller to that list. I'm bringing my amazing community, my experiences to you and everyone across the world. Welcome to The Warehouse. Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Warehouse. I am so excited for today's guest. There are two amazing women that have impacted my life a lot. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to The Warehouse. But I can't wait to introduce Aunt Shirley.
Hello.
And my mom.
Hi.
Passion Pink 3, if you guys know who that is.
So glad to be here.
Since we're talking about Passion Pink 3, what is that? Why does everyone know that? Who are you? I mean, what's the rundown?
Multiple things. First, I'm your mom. And Passion actually arrived because of a vocalist when I was singing as a vocalist in the past. And my band was called Passion. So that's why it's Passion 3.
Yeah, she's pretty famous on social. So if you guys want a good follow, follow her on Instagram, follow her on Twitter. She's full of life all the time. So let's kind of just dive in, I guess, a little bit. Obviously, you're my mom. Where you from? How'd you get to Chicago? I mean, we want the backstory of how you are who you are.
Okay. Originally from Jackson, Mississippi. My parents, we were born there, and I went to elementary school during the Civil Rights Movement, was very involved with it during my father, and was part of the Civil Rights Movement. And after graduating from high school, I decided to move to be with my sister.
Sister?
My sister Shirley, yes, who's your godmom, and decided to relocate to Chicago. And that's when a lot of different things happened for me in my life. Was involved with many activities, went to university there, then relocated back to Jackson and graduated from Jackson State University, where I played, was a track star. And that's where my athleticism came from, being really involved with sports a lot in my childhood as well. Mm-hmm. And but it all started in Chicago, actually, and that's where you were born.
Represent, Speaking of childhood, for us, every Sunday was like a history lesson. All right, we'll get serious first, and then we'll let everyone know the other stories. But Papa was a minister, right?
He was a minister.
So you guys grew up at a time where it was not very civil.
No.
Can you guys talk about how was it living in Jackson? Being, it was 7 of you guys, right? So
yes,
brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Just talk about how it was growing up in Jackson and everything you guys saw, the people that you were around, like the town. I mean, it's obviously night and day compared to my bringing up, right? So can you guys, either you guys talk about that?
Being raised in Jackson, Mississippi, I was one of the first African Americans that was integrated during the Civil Rights Movement in the state of Mississippi. Schools. It's undocumented, so you won't see this in documented. We happened to be undocumented. And it wasn't pleasant. It was during the 60s where my father was having a meeting with civil rights leaders, Martin Luther King, Ralph Abernathy, all those hit NAACP. And at that time, in 4th grade, I didn't understand what we were involved with, but I did understand once I was part of integration, and people stood out there hollering horrific names. Whites didn't want us to come to school, and they stood out there screaming 2, 4, 6, 8, we don't want to integrate. White supremacists, and everybody's screaming, and it was not pleasant. Even when we got inside, they treated us horribly and ignored us. It was just a horrific experience. So that was the part. But it was always dinner table when you come in from home, you get home, and you sit down and you talked about politics. We talked about religion and that experience. So that I grew up really fast because we were involved in the Civil Rights Movement, and it was not always marching and part of that. It was just a difficult time.
And Auntie, you're the oldest.
I am.
So can you tell your perspective? Because obviously, like, I know, you guys lost your mom when you guys were really young, and then you actually had to take on a lot of the responsibility. Right. Was it kind of the same dynamic for you guys? I mean, obviously you're a little bit older, but was it the same kind of upbringing? I know you guys have different stories, but you were really like the mom. You kind of ran the household on top of being a kid as well. Can you talk about that?
Yes. First, I did come to Chicago because after graduating from Jackson State University, I got a job here. They were looking for teachers, and I came here and got a job and worked in the school system. And really, it taught me a lot. And I brought in gifts that were really great for the school board as well. But going back to our childhood, yes, I was the oldest, and we lost our mom when I was 10 years old. Gwen was like 10 months. So I stepped up, which even before losing her, I was sort of like the oldest, and I always helped. So we did grow up fast without a mom. Yeah. Believe it or not, yes, you do grow up fast. But moving forward, we grew up in segregation, that's for sure. A whole different world, and a little bit different from today. But as Gwen said, our father was very much involved. One of the leaders. He was always mistaken for Dr. King. They look similar. And in those times, high school students, elementary students, no matter who you were, you went to the mass meetings. They were held in the churches, and we went there. So we lived the history, and we were part of the history. We very much knew what was going on. Even when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, students took a stand. They took out. And it was done in a civil way, very civil way. They didn't go out shooting and tearing down property, but it was done in a very civil way. So I should say it grows you up fast. And I had no idea, even though Gwen was the only one that could integrate schools because they did it by grade levels.
Okay.
And so she was the one that had to test the waters. I really didn't know all the hurt and harm she went through. I really didn't. But it was a hard time for her. But I just look at it like God was preparing her for the future, really. All of us.
Yeah.
As I reflect on our lives, I can look at each one of us and our talents. And I say, wow, even though it was rough coming up without your mom, rough in segregation, and a lot of negatives, but God took all those negatives and turned them into positives. Yeah, so it prepared each one of us for our careers. And I guess that's why we are so good. And each one of us in our careers, we have been told and have been awarded that we stood out. And I think we stood out because of the preparation. And nothing is really easy when you're going to be a leader. Don't know you're going to be a leader, though.
Right. You kind of are forced to be like that. And I think, can you guys explain all your siblings before we get into the storytelling? Because I think it's important to understand you guys are all very different, but you guys are so close. And I always remember that growing up, like, you guys still talk every day, mind you. So they will be together. So like right now they're together, right? They will leave each other, call each other immediately. Like it's a constant conversation like throughout the day. I mean, it's constant. And it's funny because we know we call on Shirley, she's probably on the phone with mom, vice versa. If we can't get a hold of one of they're always together, but you guys are always like that. Like all your siblings are like that. So can you go through who's the oldest, go through the list and kind of break down each brother and sister?
Well, I am the oldest. And I guess I was sort of the leader too. They really, it was really amazing that each one of them really respected me as the oldest in the house. I was in charge when my father would go away. And they didn't give me any problems. Not a one of them. They were really obedient and nice. And we just bonded. And I guess love was sort of taught. We were always in the church. that was the great thing. We were brought up in the church. We
And we had each other.
participated. Yeah,
We had each
and we
other,
really
sibling.
had each other.
We had each other.
Yeah, we did.
Only to survive on.
Right.
Each other.
Yeah, exactly. And we just developed that bond because we had each other. We stuck with each other. And I can remember my father saying this, though, always stick together. He did say that, yeah. So then
Larry.
I guess my oldest brother was very nice. He was very respectable. I had only 2 brothers. He was the second one. Quiet tone. He played in the band, musician. He was very good with that. And then we had Monty. She was the outspoken. We knew she would be a lawyer. We knew she could take that field because she was always opening her mouth.
Very
she was
outspoken.
never afraid.
Always
She was
outspoken.
never afraid of the punishment. She spoke out. She spoke out. Then we had,
irrespective of the strict
she didn't care. She had a voice.
rules we had at home, she was the most outspoken one.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
sure.
was. She was. And then Billy, he was strong.
Yes.
He was strong. He really
Yeah.
was. He versus his brother, Billy. He spoke out too. He was very strong. Yeah. And then we had Pam, who's quiet.
Quiet.
Yeah, very quiet, very sensitive, the tender-hearted one.
Yeah.
She's very tender, And then we had Gwen. And, yeah.
The rebellious one.
Yeah.
I was the
Yeah.
rebellious one.
Yes. And then we had Jackie.
Yep.
Those
Sweet.
2 were pretty much on the end, Yeah. So
Okay. Let's just get into it because I'm already laughing and you guys are
I know.
being real good right now. You guys are being real good employees, but let's get into the real stuff. Okay. Growing up, okay. I know we talked about it before, like Jerry and I, like, we didn't come for money. We were like, oh, we didn't have, this and this. And you guys still provided for us, obviously. Like, we always said that. But compared to what you guys had,
Yeah.
I am mind blown. Can you talk about what it means and what it is to be poor, poverty line? Like, what?
Totally
Can
poor.
you guys? It's not funny.
Totally
Please, it's
poor.
really not funny.
No,
good.
it is a
It's
sense
funny.
of humor now.
It
so
is, right.
Okay.
It's a sense of humor now because
I'll
we
take
went
the
through
lead.
it. She'll
I'll
take the lead.
Let Gwen come in. Well, as an adult, when I reflect on my childhood, I never knew we were poor at that time. I knew we didn't have things. It was normal. If your parents didn't have, they didn't have it. But as I reflect as an adult, I say, wow, we were really poor, poorer than I realized. For example, my father came, he was a military guy. He was strict military. You had a schedule for everything. And for the bathroom.
Yeah.
We never were late for school because everybody had this time, a very regimented. And I guess that's why I'm so organized today. I love organization. But yes, and I never knew how far a chicken could go. I really didn't. I reflect on that. And we are not talking about a chicken that's been injected with hormones.
Yeah.
We're talking about a regular farm chicken. In the family, it was a family of 9, 7 children and 2 adults. So that one chicken, nothing went to waste. It's sort of like Oriental kitchen. Nothing goes to waste.
Yeah.
Not a part of that chicken went to waste. The back, the neck, the gizzard, everything was there. And this is the deal. Whoever got the neck or the back didn't get it the second time we had chicken. It rotated around, like I say, very regimented. But we were okay with that, And like my father would tell us, okay, Monday morning, he said, okay, I don't have money for lunch money for the oldest, but he already had the money for the younger. No problem. We didn't think anything of. You don't have it, you don't have it. We didn't rebel. We just, and actually, the 3 of us, the 3 older ones, we always would go to the auditorium, and a lot of children that didn't have it. You go to the auditorium, but if you didn't feel second to none, we read books. And actually, I would read a book. We had develop a book club. We would read a book a week and discuss it. That was fine. No problem for me. It just didn't bother me. It really didn't. And
it bothered me.
Yeah.
You're saying it didn't, as a kid,
But
I
let me
felt
say-
it bothered me because
Okay.
we were poor, and
The
you
young
knew
ones.
you were poor because you had this little blue ticket back then. They give you all blue ticket mean you got free lunch, and your name was always called first with the blue ticket, and I was so embarrassed. I just used I call my name Gwen Davis. I didn't want people to see my face. It was just an embarrassment. I knew we were poor because you had to get that free lunch ticket, what reminded you.
But as I said, my father was so regimented. I never understood this. I hear Josiah and Sarai talking about snacks. Snacks.
Josiah and
That's a
Sarai,
good
those
thing.
are my
niece and nephew.
Yeah.
Right. But
Our grandkids.
for us, everything was
Snack.
regimented. This is just what poverty does. It does this. You could not go and get snacks.
I don't understand
on
this.
your
I
own.
don't
Or
understand
you
this.
couldn't go in the
If
refrigerator
you got
to
snacks
get anything.
and didn't ask, that was called stealing.
Yes.
And I never understood
How is that steal? Like,
It's called
how is
stealing.
that stealing?
because you didn't get permission.
You didn't get permission. It's perceived as stealing.
but
If
it's
you-
in your
anything
home.
that doesn't
It's
mean
not-
for you guys to eat and enjoy,
you could not.
and that's
Could
called
not.
stealing.
I think I
If
was
you
a
didn't get
size 1
permission.
until I was high school.
You had to get permission. And again,
I don't get it.
if you don't have money, that's where it is. And I did, I look at it now.
That's what
I
poverty
understand it much better, the whys. But even this, we were so poor till a light bulb that went out was a concern. And I never will forget. My father came home, say, who blew the light?
And of course, Monty, the rebellious
She
one,
was the
said,
one, right.
Monty, what did Monty say?
I'm not gonna. She said it was time for the bulb
It
to
was
go.
time.
That's what she said.
She didn't play. She told her, like,
She said,
I was
"Both
like, hell,
ways
it was
gonna go
time
out."
for it to go out.
Like, it has nothing to do with who used it more.
That didn't matter.
Who turned
We
it
got
on. It's just
blamed.
naturally going to go
It
out.
Didn't
meant
matter.
you had to come up with some money to buy another bulb. And
Right.
then the money was just, you have to keep in
Or-
mind, Mississippi was and still is the poorest state in the
co-
union.
Yeah, in the country.
In
the
50
country.
states, right, it is.
Gosh.
But so imagine, and after I became an adult in college, and I thought about what my father was bringing home then and what he brought home, I cried because I said, I don't know
This is
how he
not
did
enough.
it.
No, we
Now,
don't know
another
how he
reason
did it.
that I didn't realize we were as poor because he always kept us in a nice neighborhood. But then again, people kept up because I remember when we stayed in Hattiesburg, the lady next door did not have grass. And I said, why is she sweeping this yard 2 or 3 times a day? She and her children. And it dawned on me, cleanliness, keeping up, keep your place nice. Whatever you have, keep. That's
Yeah,
what she was
value
doing.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she was doing. So eventually, we did buy a home in a gated community. My father did. But so living like that, and your peers living like that too.
Then you
Didn't
kind of
know,
just,
but
you don't
I-
see the
yeah.
reality is kind of going, what's on in the home.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mom.
But going back
Go ahead.
to
Yes.
the food.
Tell us
But
truth.
yeah,
Yeah,
let
what's
me
the-
just
that
not
youngest
be,
one, yeah,
let
tell
me
us
just
truth.
be
Meant
raw.
something to
I'm
her.
gonna
Yeah,
be raw.
be real here. Let's go.
Going back to the food, we were so hungry one night. My father went to a revival or something, and my mom and dad went to a revival. They kept us there, and we were so hungry. My brother Billy always tried to take care of the two of us, Pam and me, we were youngest. So he goes, hey, we just go in the refrigerator. I'm going to make us, we just going to eat something, get whatever's
So
in
basically,
there.
he was going to steal.
We were going to steal,
Quote,
because they
unquote.
call stealing.
And how
So
old
we
are you
were
guys at this?
starving.
Like
I
middle
think I
school?
was,
High school?
we're like middle school.
That's
No.
crazy.
They were middle school, and I was younger. I had to be young. So we're starving, nothing to eat. My stomach gets hurting. I'm like, what can we start? So my brother's like, forget it. So he went in and saw some bread. I think, what was it? Peanut butter or something. He started fixing a turkey sandwich, I think. I think he was trying to put the turkey sandwich. Just as he put the mayonnaise and the turkey and everything, we getting ready to bite. The car comes in the garage, the lights flat. We said, oh, he goes, shit. So we had the food, we threw it across the fence. Owls ate it. So we never got a chance to eat the damn food. We were still hungry.
And so was it more of you guys being scared?
Yeah, because we were afraid we were
Scared-
going to get a
scared of-
beating.
Oh
My father was
Discipline.
no. But
Discipline.
this one back then, your
They
ass got
stole.
beat.
They didn't ask. They stole, remember? You
didn't
have
know
to
that.
get
That's
permission.
considered stealing.
But
We're going to get beat. I didn't
If-
want to get a beating.
but if I
Not
get-
even one bite.
Yeah.
We didn't take one bite. We were
That was
so
something.
scared. We got the food and each one was
Oh my gosh.
over to the cows and the cows ate it.
But if I did it for them, it was okay. But if I went in and prepared food or gave something, it was okay. I was the oldest, but they never said anything. And I would cook I would cook different things for them, and they ate extra
Yeah, but
stuff.
you were going to college by then. We were there by ourselves. You were in college. We were still home suffering. That was when you went to you would come home for college in possible, but
Yeah, okay.
not when. No, baby.
I was wondering.
I
No.
feel like all the stories you have is once they left.
yeah,
And so
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
you're scared of getting beat.
scared of getting beat.
But at the time that was like normal to get beat.
It was
No?
terrible. We'd
I
saying
mean,
beat,
I'm not saying like it was
not
great,
a whipping.
but
We're
you guys-
saying
I
beat.
mean,
This is why I didn't hit you
yeah,
guys.
never had it. Yeah.
Because I didn't believe in. I didn't like the beatings we got as a kid.
Can
I guess
you?
they only did what they thought they knew was right back then.
That's true. That
That's
is
true. What they were taught.
Can you go into the Superman story?
Oh my God. Yeah, we were out because we never had toys. We never had
It's
a
not funny.
Christmas. You never got anything for Christmas. So our neighbors, the homes next door, I saw them recently, so nice. They would always share their toys with us. So we were here again. My father was at a revival one night. He and my mom, and they were out. And Andre said, "Hey, you can borrow my Superman suit." And so my brother Billy put on this. Put the suit on and he got on the roof, was jumping up and down, and we were playing. We were having a fantastic time thinking he was Superman, was jumping. All of a sudden, we see the light coming down the street. Here they come. We said, "Oh, shit." My brother said, "We said, help me." Oh, God. He was crying. "I can't get out of this suit. Oh, my God." And I was laughing so hard because I couldn't stop. Pam started crying. "Oh, we don't get a beat." She's crying. And Billy's standing on the roof trying to get out of the suit. Oh, God, it was so bad. He could not get out of the Superman suit. He was just pulling and pulling and pulling. And he couldn't get out.
Those three.
Oh, my
It seems to be
God.
all those three.
Those three.
Really, Pam
Yeah,
and
we
Mom.
stayed
Stayed
different.
So, oh my God. And the car pulled up. He still couldn't. We jumped down. We still trying to help him get out of the seat because we already know he didn't get out of his suit. All our ass gonna get beat. We finally got him out of that damn suit, threw that suit across to Andre and said, "Take this suit out." It was so
I
bad.
can't, like-
the stress.
The stress. It's the stress. I mean, growing up, like I didn't realize how much freedom I had.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like to go over to Nathan's house, Tyler's house, and play, and
Oh,
not,
we couldn't
like
do
all
that.
these things, or
Oh.
to have the freedom and to kind of
no.
be like imaginary kid
We didn't have that
and
kind of
play with the
freedom.
toys and all these things we have in the house.
You couldn't go anywhere.
That's what I'm saying,
It was
like,
like
it's-
we were in a cult, and we had to come
They
home.
went more
and go-
places than we did.
We went a cult, and it was like as soon as you get in from school, you went straight to the picnic table and you did homework.
Yeah,
It was
that's
original.
true.
Homework,
That's true.
homework. He was really good about business first.
Yes, he was. He
No
believed
play.
in education.
We couldn't even
He
watch
believed-
television. I didn't know what came on TV until I was in college
That's crazy.
because we couldn't watch television.
No,
Couldn't watch it.
we had one television, and and he watched. In the
Yeah, he watched his. He
So-
watched
and he
sports.
watched
Yes,
it.
He watched it, but we
and
Yeah.
the
couldn't.
sports watched him.
Yeah.
But sometimes you brought up my father believed in education. Because his father denied him of education. That really did hurt him. And he said he would never do his children that way. So he always stressed that. Now, we grew up in segregation, and my father built a room onto the house, and it was a library. And I don't know where he got all the books. All the genres of books were there. And we were pretty much scholars because one thing he said, nobody can bring a grade in lower than a B. I
Yeah,
say,
we sure
what?
could not.
I
We could
say,
not.
what?
We
I
could
say, lower
not
than
bring
a
a
B.
grade lower
You
than
know,
a B.
but what he was doing, he was trying to say, you're better than that. You can do it. He believed, and we did. We really, some had
you
some
also afraid
deficiencies.
you're gonna get beat if you
Well,
come. You bring
how was the,
anything lower than a B, that was an ass whipping. So no,
when he lined
we're
you guys
tired.
up.
We had we
For
had
what,
to
multiplication?
You
That
weren't
is
at
you
home. You were
guys.
in
No,
college.
Oh, you weren't
that-
there
the
either.
last
All
three.
these stories are
All
you
these
guys.
stories when she was gone. We had to get lined up to try to learn the multiplication table. I just had a problem with math. I just couldn't grasp it. But my brother Billy could just that way. After Pam got it, lined us up, get it. We were like, okay, we're going. All right, at ones, twos, threes. Right when we got to about sixes, my brother was struggling. We were like literally, Pam she's always the sensitive one. She started crying right away. Billy not gonna get it.
It's not funny.
It was so sad. He's not gonna get it. He's gonna get a whipping if he don't get it. And like we said, come on. I was trying to help him. Come on, 6.7 billion for it. We were trying to help him. Trying to help him. It's the stress.
That's so much stress for a kid.
And we couldn't leave until all of us did the multiplications right. I don't care if it was 9 o'clock at night. We had to stand there till each and every.
What if you got it wrong?
You got it wrong. You had to stand up there and figure it out and get it right.
That's panic.
Yeah,
that's panic mode. I mean, that's just like it's nerve-wracking for you too, because like this is your brother or sister, and you're like trying to help him. You don't want them to get yelled at.
We were trying to help him. He was slow. He was a little slow, and couldn't get. I was like, oh my God,
that's what I'm saying.
And there's no like learning disabilities.
I think he did have it. Of course, you can forget that shit. Not down south, but that shit ain't happening. Your ass got beat.
Learning disability. He scored higher
the highest ACT in the whole family,
and went on to college. I mean, he did no stress,
no stress.
So it goes to show people that's disabled have it, but on their turn, their turn. Like, I was shocked. How did me? Nope. I mean, he did it.
Yeah, he did.
He really did it.
Oh my God!
And went on to college. I mean, he's very talented. Yeah, but
I mean,
and guess what? His first job as a BEOG, President Carter. Thank you for allowing us to get the BEOG grants for the poor people that come to college. That's what paid our way through school. We got the BEOG grant, and then you also supplemented that with getting a work study on campus.
Oh, okay.
His job, he says, I'm going to the cafeteria so I can eat, so I can have some food to eat, and that's where he worked. He worked at the cafeteria, so he can always eat.
Oh my gosh, it's just, I mean, it's like these stories are just, I know I've heard them so many times, but they're so funny because like, all these stories eventually come back around, and you guys have learned something from these stories.
Yeah, sure.
How to do something, how not to do it, the patience you guys had, the consistency, the persistence. Like it's always something that comes all around these stories. But Mom, the story that I think it's kind of testament to your personality is when you guys snuck out, you and Pam.
Oh my God.
To the Cotton Club.
Can you
talk about how big of influence that Papa had in the town? I think that's big too, because you guys were known
in a small town.
Yeah, right.
He's been a minister. I mean, people saw him as the great pastor in a small town. So everybody knew everybody in the small town. And so we just could never go anywhere. And I told my sister, Pam, who's 2 years older than I, and I was always the fast thinker all the time and get us in trouble. So I was like, Pam, we're not going to the community center now. We'll tell Papa that's where we're going. Let's go to the Top and Bottom Club. At that time, they were letting you in. And so we were in high school. Yeah, we were in high school. And I think I was a junior. She was a senior. I was a sophomore and she was a senior. And I said, let's go to the Top and Bottom. Everybody's going there. Dressed up, we're going to the community center. Got dropped off the community center. We left the community center and went to the Top and Bottom Club. They got him. Everybody's like, we're not supposed to be there, because everyone, whoa, Reverend Davis children up in here. Oh, Lord. Oh. I mean, how embarrassing, because they're like, Reverend Davis children up in here. So right around you getting scared because people already saying, Reverend Davis children. Sure enough, somebody called Pam and I were just jamming and partying. Hey, we were going, first time we ever been to the top with Charlie. So all of a sudden, someone called my daddy. Of course, small town. I saw that big hat. I saw that big hat walking through I said, oh, hell no. I started running. I'm like, Pam. And she can't hear out of one ear. Yeah. So she couldn't hear me. The music going, she's just popping and going on and going. I said, Pam. She couldn't hear me. I said, oh, hell.
Track star.
I ran, baby. You talking about dusting up, being a track star back then? I dusted it up and ran all the way home. He called Pam because she didn't hear me, pulls her out of the club, starts hitting her in the, I refuse to get embarrassed. Start hitting her and beating her from the club all the way in the car till we got home. And then I got beat when I got home.
That's just like,
it is.
Was it worth it though?
I said I'd rather get my ass whipped than miss out on good shit.
She talks, the three of them.
I'd rather get a beating than to miss out.
The three oldest didn't have that kind of experience.
But we stayed in trouble.
And she's complaining, but they got a car. We didn't get a car. She had a car to drive on campus.
Yeah,
we
but I did.
We didn't have that.
I mean,
but it's amazing, though.
It is amazing. I mean,
but by then, by the time I got to college, it was starting to get a little bit better. Financially, a little bit better, Yeah. So that's why I was able to get a car. I mean, it was not the best car, but it was a Malibu at that time.
That's better than walking.
But I look at my life, and I don't have to hold my head down, because I remember in our workshop at school, the psychologist came and did a workshop, and she said, "Who all came from a dysfunctional home?" People looking around at other people, some raised their hand. And she did the in-service, and at the end, she said, "Who all come from a dysfunctional home?" Everybody went up in that then,
Everybody.
But going back to that, I look at it did shape us. There was a lot of positive. There was a lot of disappointment, heartache, and with some of the things that did occur. But I'm just looking at how God turned all that around to something positive, and how each one of us have touched so many other people's lives because of our experience and because of the gifts that God has given us. So that's a great thing, because we can be testimony to other people that's going through, and so you can make it. And
we never stole, because we were poor. We didn't steal. We didn't go out here,
and we
be in trouble. Never got in jail.
People, teachers, whoever. We gave respect to people.
And at that time, we got spanked in the hand from teachers with a board if you did something. And then you got another whipping at home. So you got your ass put at school.
You might as well just be respectful.
Then you got another whipping at home.
Parents and teachers did work together. And even the high school teachers were like your parents.
Yes, they were like your parents.
Everybody was like your parents, you know. But you knew that they were really interested in you. And that was really something. But
to fast forward to, you guys are both, honestly, all of you guys have worked in the opportunity of service. And you guys are obviously teachers, and you guys have really impacted a lot of people in Chicago. And the stories of just the kids that come back and write to you guys, or you guys see them and they're successful and they've had different upbringings and all these things. Talking about teaching in Chicago, your first experiences, and then obviously you guys got to work together at just Armstrong, which is amazing. But talk about your first experience, and then Mom, you go after.
I want to say that Monty and Gwen brought so much into the classroom. They worked in corporate America.
Yeah, worked in corporate first.
Then Gwen also went into the government work. And Monty has so much experience. She worked, she was for Roland Burrs, the governor of Illinois, and she worked with so many heavyweights. She did with the Bulls. So, I mean, these girls brought so much into that classroom that you don't really get otherwise. And it showed with the students. And so, yes, in the classroom, like I say, the gifts we had, we just worked with the children. And like I said, I didn't want to be a teacher. I just didn't want to be. But that's where I was led, and I found out some years later, after I got in there, that was where God wanted me. That was my gift, working with people. And because I would always get these accolades and from my peers and administrators and district, you did outstanding. Everything I did was different. And I couldn't see it. I didn't understand. It took me some years to really understand that, this is a gift for me. So I was able to connect with the parents, all three of us. We really were able to connect with the parents, and it was not like we up here and you down there. We could really connect with them. They knew we were people and we were concerned.
But we had a love and heart for the kids, and the kids saw that.
The children
they saw that we loved them, and we gave them genuine love. And my husband and I became foster parents. And as a result of that, we were able to have kids. You saw Marina stay with us, and had different children stay with us in different experiences that my kids even learned from them, that you guys learned from them.
For sure.
So
you also helped parents that sometimes the system just want to kick you out. There were children with special needs, and they were not testing within the system.
Right.
And you told the parents, but you have to go outside because that's your experience, you knew, and get your own testing and bring it back. And those students, they on Facebook, social media, they look us up, they find us, and they really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Can you talk about, where were you, at the West Side? The first
year. I was in corporate America before, and a friend of mine said, oh, you know, if you ever want to leave corporate, we really need some good, strong teachers, somebody like yourself. I said, oh, I don't know. And finally I said, you know what? I think I'm ready to leave corporate now. And I said, I want to go ahead and start teaching. I said, I just needed a few classes in education, which I did do, go in the back and get the studies and whatever. So my girlfriend worked on the west side of Chicago at this school, very bad area. I had no knowledge, excuse me, about the school. So I should have known something when I interviewed with the principal over the phone. He hired me immediately, had never met me. I'm like, okay, I'm hired. Yeah, just come in and, you know, we'll get all the information you need. We'll send you to the board and get all that taken care of, blah, 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 you're hired. I was shocked. I'm like, I've never met.
Never taught before.
I've never taught a class ever in my life, and this man is taking a chance on me. Okay, so I get the first day that I drive. At that time, I had a white Saab. The first day before I can even drive in the area, there was gang war, gunshots, shooting and going. I'm like, what in the world?
This is bad.
I call my husband. I said, there's a game stuff going on over here. I can't go back to this school. And so then I call the principal. He goes, no, go home. Come back tomorrow. I'm like, are you serious?
Take two. That's
I don't even want to come back. But after that, what are you going to say?
Look, I was going to say, Sutter, you left out something. I went with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To show her. To help her
get up. To set up.
That was the most depressing situation. Because when I came to Chicago,
right, before I started, you did. Before the kids started. It was very
depressing, and I showed her how to set up, and we did all the boards. The school was so depressed.
It was so bad.
I don't know how
the
children
computers
even
were
would learn
outdated
and something like that.
Books were terrible. I don't know how
we turned that room
around. We turned it around
and set that place up.
Yeah.
And tell them what the children reaction when they came. You remember?
Well,
what she did.
Yeah.
She had their names. Had each child name. They could identify with a space. And the boards, they never saw bulletin boards before. Oh. And the whole room was just set up differently.
Right.
And you can take it from there.
It made them welcoming. The kids were so, felt, oh, somebody really recognized me. They felt welcome. They felt important. They didn't, and then they saw a young African-American teacher who, not only that, I'll never forget this one student who hopefully you guys get to share with her one day on the podcast. Her name was Kathy. She first walked in, she goes, what are you doing here at this school? You talk white. You talk white. You ain't like us. I said, what does white mean? I said, no, I speak standard English. I said, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And I had to get the kids to know me and get them to feel welcome.
Did they trust you right away, or it took a second?
It took a second before they got to trust me. I had to get them to trust me. I had to get a trust so that they believe in me and believe in themselves. And at that time, they were doing a different type of testing that they don't do now. But the scores were like a 1 point something, and they were like fifth grade. It should have been a 5.0 and up.
Right, but they were
so
like
below.
1.1.
Wow. They were so below. Because no one's taking time with them. And I broke the rules. I went in early in the morning before the principal let me come in like at 7 in the morning, going in, working with kids, reorganize the classroom, buying things, spending my own money to get things together, teaching kids basic skills and teaching them math. And I wasn't a great math teacher, but they helped me because we were learning it and all. But
what changed it when they heard her voice?
When they heard me sing,
that's the thing. Because growing up, we didn't have the normal twinkle twinkle little stars and nursery rhymes. We didn't you would just sing to us all the time. That was the best thing about everything. How we learned was your voice.
Okay, I'm gonna get these kids. Okay, I said these kids like rhythm and blues and music and stuff. Oh, I said okay. They didn't know I could sing, so I said okay. I brought that back that time, the big black music box. And then I had gotten the song that Whoopi Goldberg did with her students in what was that
one,
movie?
If you can
Sister
believe
Act.
in somebody.
In
sometimes-
Sister Act, yeah.
Or
So
what
I
that-
said, okay, I'm going to sing
Yeah.
to these kids that. So as they were coming in, I popped the music.
Mhm.
And then I start singing, if you want to be somebody and you want to go somewhere, you got to wake up and pay attention. And then they were just singing, if you want to be somebody
Mhm.
and you want to go somewhere, you got to wake up and pay attention. I'm like,
Whoa.
oh,
Yeah,
she
that's how
could
it was.
sing. And then we
every
started
morning.
singing, and every morning we were doing, pay attention, pay attention.
Yeah.
They start believing that, and they liked it. Our teacher can sing. Ooh, that's how. Come on, Miss Lloyd, let's sing.
Mhm.
Now then they wanted to do it. Let's do it, Miss Lloyd. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so we started singing and became some of the music, some of the rhythm, and started the math become musical, and the writing, we started connecting everything.
Yeah.
By the end, well, it was time to take that major standardized test at the state of Illinois. So we finally took it. The results came in. They couldn't believe it. They said, there's no way. No way. These kids were at a 1.1. These kids were scoring 10.8,
Wow.
11 point something. And they're like, no, there's no. But I didn't test my kids. Other people had, who didn't even know me. They actually
Came in and
tested
tested
them.
the
That's
kids.
how they did.
Right.
I said, no, they didn't cheat. These kids, we worked with these kids for 8 months. So they wanted to retest them, and they retested them. They still scored high.
Mhm.
So people, students, here's the typical example, write them off. Nobody want to be bothered. In the projects, they were project kids that were written off by society.
Yeah.
Had poverty. And when I tell you, they were poor, they were poor. Because when I went to some of those kids, they were sleeping on the floor. Some of the parents were crackheads. I mean, they was just written.
Yeah.
You know.
It's
And
tough.
it was just so sad. They scored that high. They could not believe it. I mean, I even made the women magazine. What was it? Some women magazine.
you
They
did.
interviewed me
Mhm.
and had the state people come in, and which they didn't quite get it, but
Yeah.
to just
Mhm.
see what was going on or
Mhm.
whatever. But
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And all of us, I
Yeah.
have to say, all of our students stood out.
yeah.
yeah, they stood out.
And I remember, and we did so much, you don't think about this until somebody put you on like this podcast
Right.
we
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah,
But the accolades, the rewards, and the certificates, and everything that we have won because of what we did with the students. Yon Monty, I just
Right.
look up to her.
Monty really.
Yeah,
I
she's
just
like
wish
next
you're
level.
going to have
Yeah, I
to
can't
get
wait for
her.
I can't wait
You're
to
gonna
get her
have
on
to
the
get
pod
her,
because
right.
she's like
She is just
she's next level.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm in
she
awe
really did some
with her.
differences.
But
Changed.
yeah, we all
They
had
changed.
those experiences.
And we also
and,
paid groceries for parents
Yep,
out of
I
our own
remember all those,
pockets because
yeah.
some kids didn't have parents in them. We
and
bought
clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to kids who were graduating didn't have the funds
And
to
we
buy
took
graduate.
care of a
I paid
family.
for-
You and I
we
took care of
a family.
Debbie, the clerk. You
Yeah.
and I took care of family
Bought
till they graduated.
graduation.
No,
Yeah,
till they
I remember all
graduated.
that.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
all, like,
right.
Graduation
all the time.
clothes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
tickets to
Right.
concerts
Yeah.
to get as
Yeah.
rewards. For
We didn't
students.
let any child go through us without having
And
the
kids
total
who didn't
experience.
have
money.
money for lunch. I paid
You pay
for
for
it.
it. Yeah,
I
we did.
refused
I
to.
remember all
I've
these
been
things.
through
You
that.
had
not
your
having-
your bag of
very
all
little.
the you had the
It's a
bag of money that
very
you take to
little.
school all the time.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
and help
bags
out. And-
money.
Yeah.
The kids.
And
I know. I
I'd even
took
give
care of
them
the kids.
parents money. It wasn't much, but
yeah.
they had hard times and, put money in their pocket. Yeah. And it doesn't take a lot to help a person, really. You do what you can. That's
Yeah,
all.
no,
Yeah.
for sure. I think that's like
Mhm.
the same thing we talk a lot on the Warehouse, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. But
Mhm.
that's the culture of like servitude.
Yes.
And having that all in there and understanding like it's not about necessarily the money, but like what that money could bring to that person, the
Right.
opportunity, just to knowing that they're okay, they're going to make it, they have someone in their corner. And that's like so important. You guys have always done that. And that's something we always felt, even for me and my friends too. Like they always felt like your parents are so loving, so caring, like always want to come over. Like obviously we're always a party house, right? Like you always had this thing, but it wasn't just about that. It's about the community that we built
Yeah,
around. And
right.
Building
you guys have,
community.
you guys have done
Yes,
that. And
yes,
it's been
yes.
remarkable in so many different ways. And I want to fast forward now to now, you have Jared and I, and we're playing sports. Like I don't think people understand how good athletes you and Dad are. Or were. Obviously you ran track, you were a cheerleader, Dad played basketball, played football.
Mhm.
But the best thing that Jared and I always talk about is like you always had like special games, hand-eye coordination games in the house.
Develop different
and I
things,
remember every night we would play this game, that purple ball, little bouncy ball thing in the bed. And we basically play like table tennis.
Yes.
And the ball couldn't touch the ground.
And that's to help with coordination. And that's why I did that.
We had no idea. Like that, you're like training us. But that game was so intense.
Yes, it was.
I remember crying, going to bed. I remember breaking all your perfume on that big black or brown thing that you had the TV on. Like these games, like you and Dad would always play and allow us to just be outside and be kids. Like I'm so appreciative of it. But our family is so competitive.
Yes.
So competitive that you watch and you're like the referee. Because you're like, guys, like calm down. Like, I mean, we're just so competitive. Can you talk about just
matches? Yes. We had tennis matches. Just our family where people started come see
people started crowding the Frozen Park to watch us play.
See us play.
Can you just talk about just our family dynamic? You know, I think you said like Dad said something to you when we were younger, like why he always have us out in the backyard playing in our hoop that we made. And you were like, why you always have, like, can you talk about like how Dad kind of saw? Or
I'm trying to remember vision? All that. Oh, give me some memory.
You were saying that like Dad one time, like he would take us out in the back and we didn't have like a you know, we just had that basket that we made a hoop. And you're like, why you have them all side all the time? He's like, oh, they're going to be athletes.
Oh,
you know,
yeah. But I'm like, why are you doing all this? You spending all this time out there with them doing sports. He said, you just don't see the vision. I'm working with them. I'm working them. These kids going to be stars one day. I'm like, well, I need you to help me with this and da-da-da. Every time I see you at Drake Park or in the backyard, I'm arguing. I'm like, I need help. I know, I understand you're working with kids, but we need help here. You just don't get it. One day you'll get it. You'll get it. You're going to see what I'm trying to do, When was that? When you're like, you have two like pretty good athletes I was working in corporate America at that time.
Yeah.
I was working in corporate America and he was in between trying to develop his service company.
Right.
And he had flexibility, so that way he was always with you guys, right? And so I'm like, I don't get it. I said, no, no. I need you, honey. I need you with me, working with me and doing some things with me sometimes.
Yeah.
But he was always with them on Rosa Park or in the backyard. We all the games and working with them.
Every sport. I mean, everything.
Every sport. And then both of us end up working as a team, helping you with. Forget was the T-ball. Forget T-ball. That. My kids were there for 1 second. The T became, let's just throw the ball to them. Forget T. They didn't last T-ball till I became baseball quick. So we became coaches.
Yeah, that's what I really admire.
Yeah, baseball coaches.
How they really were coaches, and sometimes they
both
switched.
Of us. Then we switched.
She had to go with Jerry. He was with you, and it was a full-time job.
Yeah, it was.
But they never complained. They were there. They had it going. It was constant. I really admired them for that.
AAU, when they got in middle school, became AAU, and then we're switching on. I had flexibility, so I was able to go with them in AAU, and sometimes Dad would come. So we stayed with them with the sports, you know, and Cal stuck with Jewell with the tennis because he just knew she was going to be a Serena Williams.
Yeah. She was on her way.
She was on her way.
Yeah.
She was on her way. But
I would say too, like, I think it's important to understand that you were always supporting us, you and Dad.
Right.
But you didn't always know, like, the rules.
No.
You didn't understand all that. Like, I feel like high school, you started to, well, no, high school, you're still learning a lot of stuff, but you just support it.
Right.
Now that you're, you know, you're not a rookie and you know so much and you've been so known in the WNBA as a WNBA mom of help supporting just people coming to games, educating people. Like, you know more a lot of times than I do sometimes. You're telling me about information that happens. I'm like, where'd you see this? Like, how do you know this? Or, you know, you're at games and you just don't support, you know, the aces. You support everyone. Like, you go and make sure that everyone, you know people on every roster, you know the GMs, you know the coaches. Like, your evolution has been so cool as as your kid. Because I'm like, sometimes your parents just aren't there, right? So that's an issue.
That's true.
Sometimes your parents just don't want to know what you're doing and what you're involved in. You've always like done your homework every year and got better every year and like know so much. And I really do appreciate that because at times I was like, Mom, you keep asking me these same questions. I'm going to need you to know what a travel is. I'm going to need you to know what a turnover is. I need you to like understand this.
I think I didn't quite get it until you went to Notre Dame. When you went to Notre Dame, that's when I started understanding the game. And understanding what's going on and stop bugging you guys. And people used to wonder why we never.
Your parents divorced? I'm like, no, they just don't sit together because my mom is, my dad doesn't want to hear it.
Because how I was, hey, what happened? What happened? I mean, what's that? What do you mean? What happened? Whatever.
Or it was up shouting and screaming.
I'm up shouting and screaming. But it wasn't until you got to Notre Dame when I figured out exactly what's going on, what's happening with the game. And I started studying myself, and I wanted to know for myself. That's when I
knew it. There was a shift when I came home, and you were like watching sports, and you were like an avid like fan. I'm like, you're watching sports like for real, like on your own, like not because dad said turn the TV on. I'm like, okay, she's a real fan now. That was a big shift, but I think it's also important too. Like my mom is about that life. She does not play when it comes to her kids.
No, I don't.
All.
You're high school. You can tell that story?
High school.
Okay.
High school. So high school, we're playing Evanston. And this always was a big deal. Like it was, you know, the suburbs going to Evanston. I mean, Evanston's not even like that of like, I'm not saying it's like a ghetto school or like they got.
No, it's in the suburb, but they had the great players. It was a rivalry.
It was all, even my brother, you know, he talked about
it was
Evanston,
a rivalry.
We always just had great, crazy battles. But this one time, I've had enough. And it takes a lot for me to kind of get to a level
But they
of
were
like.
also, this girl was coerced with this adult.
Another adult
Who I knew
yeah.
something was going to happen at that game because she coerced that girl to try to get jump you. To stir up some stuff.
We're playing the game. We're winning. She's talking. She's pushing me. Like, it's getting pointed where she's like trying to hurt me, and I'm getting up. And I'm like, my fists are like Arthur. I'm like ready to go. And mind you, these games are like these are sold out games. So all my friends and my family are there. Like they know this game means a lot.
Were swinging.
So we're going. So the clock's going down. She's talking smack to me. I'm like, look at this. I'm pointing at the scoreboard. I'm like, look at this shit. Like you're losing. And she waited, like maybe 1 second before the buzzer went off, and she swung. All I see before I'm dodging the swing. I look over. My mom has heels on. So if you guys know my mom,
yeah, pointed much higher than these. They were red. I'll never forget. They were red boots all the way up to here. High heel, much heel higher than this.
Yes.
I ran all the way down from the bleachers.
Ran
all the way to the floor.
Everyone storms the court. I just see my mom like, and their side is coming this way. It's like a whole like 300s meeting. Like, this is Sparta. Like, it was crazy. It was insane.
I'm like, oh no,
I was on the court.
I don't play.
Nick, the security guard, grabs me, pulls me back. I'm like, you need to get my mom. Like, she's over here like taking the business. She's like, it was going to town.
Oh yes, baby,
town. She was in there. I'm like, bro,
I would have done
I'm good. Like, get her. Like, it was insane. Like, that's the thing. Like, my mom is always like, she's always going to stand up for what's right. She's always going to have support for her kids, her family. Like, you do not want. That's the one you do not want to cross.
No.
Oh, you don't want to cross because she's just, that's how you guys are.
Yeah, it gets to a point she'll have to say, Mom, please.
Yeah, Mom, relax.
That's okay.
Like, don't hit the red button. Don't hit the red button, you know? And it's just like, that's how you guys are, and that's how you guys raised us. And that's, you know, like our family, no matter what goes on in our family and your family and what, you know, the family I'm going to build, like family is everything. And you guys have always said that to us. And it didn't matter, you know, the good days, the bad days, like we stuck together. You know, and that's just how we are, and that's how you guys are, and that's something you guys always taught us. No matter if we're, you know, an all-star or Sarai and Josiah who are just figuring out like they're good at sports and living life and getting all the snacks that they want, right? Like,
right.
You guys always made sure that family first.
That's right.
You stick together no matter what. And
that's right.
We're on this journey together, and just to see where you guys came from. You know, how you guys raised us. I mean, my first sleepover was at your house making butter cookies, which, listen, you guys ever try her butter cookies? Like, it could start a war, because it started a war in our house. I mean, we stuck together, but we will fight over these things. But, you know, everyone would help raise us. And I think that's spelling in your lives, too. Like, it wasn't just your parents. It was, you know, the cooks and your aunt and Uncle John, all these people. And that's just where it's at for us. Like, family's everything for us.
That's right.
And
that's true.
I literally wouldn't be here. You guys wouldn't be here without family, your sisters and brothers. And it just means a lot to sit here and like share these stories with the world, let them know. I mean, this is not even half the stories. You guys are definitely going to be back for sure, because I know you got so much more. And once they meet a Muncie, it's a whole other deal. Like,
get ready for her.
Right. Get a dictionary ready. Get everything.
Exactly.
It's a whole thing.
She's got a vocabulary that's out of this world.
Gosh, she's a genius. And no, I just appreciate you guys for taking the time to be on here. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to The Warehouse. We have so much more of these true stories. That's the best thing. These are true stories. None of these is made up. This is not cartoon. This is not like, this is all real life stories. And we appreciate it. And thank you guys. And, you know, I just value it. So appreciate it, guys. And we're a wrap.
Okay.
Cool.